Into one word, it would be inspiring.
They're very collaborative. They're very inclusive.
It brings a diversity of different talent into the room.
The pitch competition was pretty amazing. Pitching was pretty incredible. There was a lot of hype behind it. I have had a number of people contact me after that pitch who are really interested in my company.
Collision's a really exciting event. It's really a very clear statement about the position for Toronto.
Right. Toronto and Collision are hand in hand.
My hair everywhere? No. Oh, perfect. Can I see my hair? Totally. Come on. That one.
I think we're bored. Bored of perfect, polished, pretty. I would much rather see chaotic energy.
Great ideas can come from anywhere.
I'm someone I never give up. Resilience is the word.
What problems there are that you can solve yourself.
We're developing not just the technology, but also the people around it and our organization, our understanding of how to work together.
You have to nurture a relationship for it to be successful.
And the best way to change that is not from the outside.
Be part of the dream, follow your passion, make the impossible possible.
You have the power to determine the direction in which this world moves.
If we can do it, everybody else can do it.
Let's do it together.
Please take your seats. The stage will open in 5 minutes.
I think I'm bored. Bored of perfect, polished, pretty. I would much rather see chaotic energy.
Great ideas can come from anywhere.
I'm someone I never give up. Resilience is the word.
What problems there are that you can solve yourself.
We're developing not just the technology, but also the people around it and our organization, our understanding of how to work together.
You have to nurture a relationship for it to be successful.
And the best way to change that is not from the outside.
Be part of the dream, follow your passion, make the impossible possible.
You have the power to determine the direction in which this world moves.
If we can do it, everybody else can do it.
Let's do it together.
Welcome to the Q&A and Experiences stage. This is the stage that's all about you guys. You guys ask the questions,
I'm excited about this. Like, I'm excited to be out there talking to people in person in 3D because for me personally, that's where I get ideas.
This kinds of thing I'm doing with you today, it's making me feel so much better.
I get a lot of questions about what we're doing, and this was sort of way up there on the scale of good question.
The idea of presence, where people share a space together, appreciating each other's music or making a song request, and then you just are okay to go on about your life, but you had a meaningful touch point.
The only way we can bring about the change is to be the change that you want to see. Thank you very much for coming.
My biggest fear is that we'll not figure out the answers in time.
The uncertainty that we live with is enormously challenging.
The world has a lot of problems, and fortunately, a lot of entrepreneurs to try to solve them.
The 5,000 people are coming from different countries, from different walks of life. That is the beginning of the change that we need.
Are willing to go first are what is driving our innovation.
Human beings are built for resilience and creativity.
Thank you.
Everyone. Mas você vai.
My thing is on.
presence of God.
Please welcome to the stage, co-host of Collision and Managing Director of Techstars Toronto, Sunil.
All right, okay. Ha-ha! Brazil! Ha-ha! This is incredible. Welcome, Rio Web Summit 2023. I am so excited to be here. Our first event in Brazil, a sold-out crowd, the first of many to come. My name is Sunil Sharma. I'm the Managing Director of Techstars in Canada. I love startups, and that's why I am absolutely enamored and thrilled to be part of this incredible global conference. The next one, of course, is in Toronto at the end of June called Collision. You are all welcome to come there. But for right now, we are talking about Brazil, and Rio in particular. The epicenter of startups and innovation in South America. We are so thrilled to be here, and what an incredible welcome you've given us for those who are from outside this beautiful country. The buzz we are feeling here in this technology hub is truly beyond words, and we cannot wait to unveil an incredible week of startups, of innovation, of corporate venture, of investment, and of government leaders who really believe in the mission that startups can truly change the world. What we're going to do right now is bring out what is near and dear to my heart, startup pitches. We have some incredible founders that we've hand-selected from across this event, and they're going to come out and pitch for you what their businesses are really all about to capture your attention and your imagination and the inspiration that only founders can bring forward. So first up, I'm going to bring up Nicholas Kluger. He is the co-founder and chief operating officer of InPlanet. That's a startup that is helping to remove carbon from the atmosphere in a safe and affordable way. Please welcome from Germany by way of Brazil, Nicholas Kluger.
Hey, did you ever walk over a gigantic pile of mining waste and were thinking, oh, there's a solution for climate change and agriculture just right under my feet? Probably not, right? So let me tell you how we at InPlanet use mining waste to remove CO2 and restore tropical soils. We do enhanced rock weathering, meaning we are spreading crushed rock on agricultural land. This has two effects. First, when rock, CO2, and water react, carbon is removed from the atmosphere in the form of bicarbonates. This process is crucial for the stabilization of our climate, however, is naturally very slow. By crushing and spreading the rock, we accelerate, speed up this process by many magnitudes. Second, the fresh rock regenerates degraded soils. This way, our participating farmers can reduce conventional inputs like chemicals, limestone, or pesticides. And besides these immediate effects, we can foster the local circular economy, improve water body chemistry, and increase food security. In the first step, we focus on Brazil and tropical agriculture because here we find optimal soils and climate conditions for fast and effective weathering. We have clean hydro energy, which allows for low mining processes, low carbon mining. We have a great policy in place that's driving already the growth of this market, and we have an abundant resource pool, meaning that right now as we speak, 6 billion tons of mining waste are accumulating in Brazilian mines. We want to make this one of the most important solutions to combat climate change, and for that we are building a fully integrated platform that allows to monitor, report, and verify every ton of carbon that we remove We then sell carbon removal credits, which allow us to provide even more rock powder to our farmers. I'm lucky to count on a great team of entrepreneurs and scientists, and showing our commitment, we were already able to attract deals, investments, and partnerships with some of the leading actors in the area. For example, the Frontier Climate Fund or the University of Sao Paulo. In a first step, we want to remove as quickly as possible 1 million tons of CO2 and reduce our cost to below $100 per ton removed. In the next step, we want to scale this to the global tropics to be able to remove more than 1 billion tons per year by 2050. We're in planet, removing carbon, restoring soils. Thank you.
Okay. Amazing, Nicholas. Amazing. Right that way. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have Carolina Kia, the CEO of Bud. Bud is a startup that helps high-performing and healthier teams create better working habits for their companies. Please welcome Carolina.
Amém?
O micro.
Ok. Carla?
Vai lá. Tens que ligar o micro.
Está desligado?
Espera, está a entrar, está a entrar.
Aí, posso ir?
Micro 4. Bastão 4. Bastão 4. Bastão 4. Vocês têm que ter em comunicação com eles.
Está ligado, está ligado, está ligado.
Posso entrar de novo?
Hi. Yes, thank you for our presence. I'm Carolina Kia, and together with an incredible team, I'm working at Bud to bring well-being through work. We know it's a big challenge because depression and anxiety cost an estimated $1 trillion per year in loss of productivity to the global economy. Unfortunately, people within organizations are sicker than ever. And leaders, they face a huge challenge and struggle a lot to get important things done without sacrificing mental health, their own mental health and their team's mental health. And organizations, they try to address those issues with initiatives besides work, when we should be addressing the main burnout drivers, such as lack of autonomy, lack of collaboration, and lack of supportive leadership. That's why we created Bud, a strategy execution software that uses AI to help leaders adopt healthier management practices. Basically, we help leaders bring everyone together around the same goals, foster autonomy and clarity to the priorities, and stimulate collaboration and dialogue around goals. As you can see in the image, our next feature uses AI to assist teams in co-creating their objectives and key results, and also fostering and promoting collaboration, alignment, and transparency. We also help leaders contribute where people need it most, encourage recognition, and create a climate of care, trust, and support. This is how we should bring well-being to work, through management and leadership practices. We impacted more than 3,000 users with great results in strategies, progress, and also people's motivation, for example. And Bud is our second business. In our previous one, WeMe, one of the most relevant design and tech consultancies in Latin America, we've been working with hundreds of leaders and learning a lot from management and leadership, healthier management and leadership practices. We gather our experience with an amazing A+ team to create our unique approach. We know it's a big challenge and we want the best ones at our side, clients, investors, people, buddies, and we are just beginning. We want to be the first AI-powered leader's assistant. Let's transform work together and let's prove that work can be a great part of our lives. Thank you.
Okay, all right. That was a great, fantastic pitch, Carolina. Okay, next up is Paula Nira. She is the founder of Latu Seguros, an insurance startup that is empowering founders across Latin America with its coverage. Please welcome Paula.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for your time and for being here. We are in the midst of a digital revolution, more so with AI, right? And it's exciting to be alive and seeing so much innovation happen. It's exciting to be present, right? Like, and see everything that's going on. But we gotta know that with this new era, there's also unprecedented challenges. Cyber risk, and I don't know, there you go. Cyber risk has been growing at a pace that sometimes has made it very, very hard for many of us to prevent and predict risk. And cyber risk is very big. That every 39 seconds in Latin America, already we've experienced we all know that, right? We all know the famous landscape they experience to where they spend more than $1 billion only because of loss of corruption, right? The fines and the penalties now accompanied by what we percent of the attacks happen to medium-sized businesses. We don't know to fight. We don't know now. So it's the personal assets of the executives of the executive understands the new type of management way very never meeting that we will be there for you working there. And so we do it at the very center. Work with you, explaining what how can we act. Some existing costs, mitigating costs that have been reached. Being on the dark. And we want to invite you to be part of the revolution, because insurance is about community. It's a safety net, sometimes to protect you, sometimes it's there to protect me. And so we want to make it together. We believe that it's the power of the community that's going to ultimately help us build the Indian region. Thank you so much.
Paula. Okay, next up, we have Mario Augusto Sa of NG Cash. NG stands for Next Generation, a digital bank helping Gen Zs make smart financial decisions. Please put your hands together for Brazil's own Mario.
Thank you all for joining me here today as I'm going to introduce to you NG Cash, the first financial app created by and for Gen Z. Today, we serve teenagers from the age of 10 to 24, giving them access to the first digital wallet created for the next generation. We give them access to Pix, boletos, prepaid credit cards, together with Master, scheduled allowance, and many other features. But the most important of them all, financial education. Not only through influencers and exclusive content, but especially through the hands-on approach where teenagers can transact with real money for the first time from a young age. We really believe that that will be incremental in their financial literacy in the long term. There was a big gap left by the banks in not serving the young. NG Cash came in to fill that gap and be the go-to financial solution when Gen Z thinks about money. If you look at Gen Z in Brazil alone, they represent over 50 million people. And in Latin America as a whole, we're talking about over 100 million people that in the next 10 years will be the majority of the GDP of this continent. So, to continue to grow and to empower this generation, we partner with Andreessen Horowitz and Mona Schiess, two incredible venture capitalist funds, and raised over $10 million to continue to serve our over 1 million users in their financial journey. Our goal is to let every young person understand that regardless of their age, they may have financial independence. And if you're in the audience here today and you have a kid or a teenager at home, remember, it's never early enough to start teaching them about money. And of course, to open their account at NG Cash. Thank you very much.
Okay, great job, Mario. Okay, listen, 5-minute break. We're going to bring out the second half of the pitches, and then we're going to get started with the opening night ceremony. So 5-minute break.
Is it good? Okay.
Okay. Second half. All right, next up. Next up, we have Andrea Burattini from a company called Dini, a startup that is building lending infrastructure for B2B platforms by eliminating the complexity of payment solutions. Please welcome Andrea. It's on? Let's try. Should say green. I can use my. Well, speak to me. Speak to me, Andrea.
Hello, hello.
It should work. Try, is it working? I think it's good. Not working.
Pode mexer, viu? Fica à vontade.
Okay, I'm going to do this. We're going to take my mic. It's on.
Tá ligado? Tá tudo?
I'll stand right with you. Let's do this. Like a true entrepreneur, Andrea. Pitch your heart out.
Okay. Can you hold, please?
Yeah. Is yours working? Yeah. Okay. Okay, then it's still us. Okay, all right, you use mine. Okay, right here.
Great.
Let's do this. This is nothing. All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now we're gonna start. Small businesses are the backbone of Brazilian economy, and they are the base of our society. They account for 30% of our GDP, 52% of formal jobs, and 99% of all companies incorporated in the country. Despite their huge relevance, historically, it has been extremely painful for them to access funding in the traditional financial system. And the situation only got worse after the pandemic. In 2021 alone, only 9% of the credit granted to companies was destined to micro and small businesses. In the same year, we created a credit gap of 514 billion reais for this customer profile, and 20% of all companies closed due to lack of working capital. But in the meantime, these small and agile companies are finding ways to incorporate technology into their day-to-day operations to solve their main challenges, from acquisition to operations, from purchase to sales and delivery. Small companies are counting on digital platforms like iFood, Rappi, and marketplaces to sell more and operate more efficiently. In this process, these digital platforms are becoming more relevant to their success every day. And in this process, they are developing a continuous and close relationship with small businesses and aggregating rich contextual data of millions of transactions happening every day inside their ecosystem. This creates a new scenario, a new opportunity for us to make it right for SMBs, because we can use all this alternative data generated to create new generation credit models custom to this profile of customer. And this digital business ecosystem allows us to imagine and create new products, experiences where the capital is connected to a daily business transaction made digitally inside the platforms they trust. And that's where Dini comes in. Dini provides the end-to-end credit infrastructure so that any B2B platform can create their own capital solution in a matter of days. We take care of all the complexity in creating and running a profitable credit operations so platforms can focus on their core, focus on their customers, and enjoy the benefits of higher LTV and customer retention. Dini offers a customized credit solution made for your merchant profile. Our services are exposed via easy-to-use APIs, so you can create the perfect user journey. And our team has in-depth credit expertise and provide exceptional customer support. We also take care of all the capital and compliance requirements. For your merchant, he accessed an in-platform credit wallet, based on a revolving limit that can be used on an ongoing basis for the various types of business expenses, creating a sticky relationship with your brand. The revolving limit is always available and can be accessed by the merchant instantly with a tap. The payment methods are available for bank transfers, bill payments, business card, and our BNPL for inventory purchase. And the repayment journey is seamless. The digital sales are used to pay back the loans, and the limit is instantly made available for further utilization. So we invite you to join the movement, supercharge our platform while enabling SMB growth. Let's change their history together.
Okay, Andrea. Woo! That's what entrepreneurs do. All right. Thanks, Andrea. This next one's going to work. All right, the next speaker, Sagar Khatri, the CEO of Multiplier, the leading global employment platform for international teams. Let's wait for it. Sagar.
Hello everyone, I'm Sagar. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Multiplier. Very nice to be here. At Multiplier, we believe in a world without limits. We believe in a world where, as an employer, you can hire any talent in the world, no matter where they are located. Similarly, as an employee, you can get the best job in the world, no matter where you are born. So simply put, we believe in a world where you can do the job that you love without having to leave the people that you love. So what's Multiplier? Multiplier is a global employment platform that helps employ talent globally in 150 countries without having to set up an entity or worry about payroll, benefits, and so on and so forth. Our value proposition to our client is simple: employ anyone, anywhere in 3 clicks and 30 seconds. You just have to find a talent and take care of the rest. Today, we are roughly 400 people ourselves, remote and team in 45 countries and 60 nationalities. We work with thousands of companies, big in more than 50 years, to employ thousands of the people on their payroll in 150 countries. At Multiplier, we are backed by some of the leading investors in the world, such as Sequoia, Tiger, and DSP. So how do we do it? Have a network of more than 150 entities globally, where we remove the need for you to open your own legal entity. We take care of payroll, benefit, taxes, insurance, HRMS, and so on and so forth. So what kind of services do we provide? We'll take care of payroll, benefit, taxes, contract, all of that in 150 countries, so that you don't have to. We also take care of providing laptops, co-working spaces, and mobile devices in 150 countries to your team. It's very simple. You come to our platform, you onboard them with customizable homogeneous health insurance. You can generate, sign, and store a multilingual employment contract, run payroll and payments, and provide a complete suite of HCM solution, and provide them with laptops, mobile phones, and so on and so forth. This in just 3 clicks and 30 seconds is done. Point, why do we do it? So we live in a world where talent crunch is a very real problem. There's a Korn Ferry report which says by 2030, there'll be a talent shortage of 85 million skilled talent globally. That will lead to an unrealized revenue loss of $8.5 trillion. Now, that's a big number, isn't it? That's bigger than the combined economy of Germany and Japan. I come from Singapore. I live in Singapore. We require 100,000 software developers every year, but we only produce 5,000 every year, right? Similarly, you know, if you go 30 miles from Singapore, there's a country called Indonesia where your salary is suddenly reduced to half. So which is not fair, isn't it? So we believe in a world which is more equitable, where no matter where you're born, your salary is not determined by it. Hence, we believe in a world without limits. Come work with us. You will be in a great company of some of us. Thank you.
Okay. Good work, Sagar. Okay, next up is Stephanie von Sta Toledo. She is the founder and CEO of OyaCare, a Brazilian startup that is disrupting women's healthcare. Please welcome Stephanie. There's got to be a startup to fix this problem. Okay, can I hold this for you, or you? Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Right.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Web Summit Rio. I'm Stephanie. Sorry for my dramatic entrance. I had knee surgery a few weeks ago, but I'm still standing and I'm still here. And I'm here today to talk to you about OyaCare, a femtech in Brazil. So in Brazil, we have 80% of women actually going to the gynecologist once a year. However, over 50% of them claim they did not get the answer when they went to the doctor. And over 60% actually tell us that they didn't feel comfortable sharing what was actually going on with them with their doctors, which is sad. In contrast, we have 110 million women in Brazil, and 65% of them under the age of 40, that is in reproductive care. We have a lot of millennials and Gen Zs still coming on the market. And what are they doing? They're all online looking for answers from their smartphones, including healthcare answers. So at OyaCare, we have 3 lines of care across 4 lines of service. Our 3 lines of care are fertility, everyday OB-GYN, and contraceptions. We deliver those across 4 lines of service: social following, online consultation, in-person consultation, procedures. This allows us to keep in touch and keep engaged every day, all the way to the most important procedures in their life. And the online, in 2021, there are online consultations. It allowed us to grow last year in 2022 at an average rate of 20% a month. This year, since we launched our in-person consultation and procedures, we were able to grow over 40% a month in the first 3 months of the year. And this online combined with in-person consultation and procedure also allowed us to improve our gross margin and diminish our customer acquisition costs. We're also proud to say that throughout this process of improving our business and increasing the touch points with our users, we are able to maintain our net score above 90% throughout the last 2 years. And today, over 60% of our revenue are coming from user referral as a mouth. So at OyaCare, we believe that healthcare transforms people, but health has the power to transform societies. So I thank you for allowing me to introduce you to OyaCare, where we combine science, medicine, and technology to deliver the care of the future. I'm the founder, Stephanie, and I'll be here the next coming days alongside with my leadership team if you ever want to talk to us or about our business. Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank God. All right. This way, Stephanie, that was amazing. Okay, our next presenter, all the way from London, England, is Maya Pindeas. She is the CEO and founder of Humanizing Autonomy, a startup that is building the global standard for how AI understands human behavior. Please welcome Maya.
My name is Maya Pindeas, and today I'd like to talk to you about how humanizing autonomy is changing and improving human-machine interactions. Our daily lives are crammed with automation, wherever you look around. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't really understand people. Think of Ubers and cars, smart home appliances, whatever we look at, automated systems, whether we realize it or not. But the reality is that those systems are often developed in isolation without testing with people, without understanding our behaviors, our intentions, and as a result, that means that we have to change our behaviors to suit the technology, and not the other way around. Without the human context, it's really hard to create a user experience. And extreme situations can even lead to understand people. How do we do it? It's much pleasant, much more efficient. Imagine an extra pair of eyes where she is actually able to be open to help. This is what Humanizing Autonomy's mission is all about. We teach machines to see and to understand people in order to create safer, more efficient and pleasant human-machine interactions. And we do it through ethical computer vision, where we help understand and interpret behavior in context to have any machines such as a car, anything that is automated to actually understand. But how it's visual behavior intelligence from the that is help and create responses and increase the one. But it's applied today, there's full richness where we work in engage with customers, less work in smart space. Behavior of people, in order to create patterns, efficient, and to do this with trustworthy and ethical artificial intelligence. The customers can trust. We don't create bias, we create and enable individual privacy. We're very pleased to have some leading companies, corporate partners that work with us, but also to be backed by some leading financial and corporate institutions. Our team, diverse, ambitious, with more than 15 countries, headquartered in London, and with backgrounds in behavior technology, computer vision, AI, and many other disciplines. Please get in touch if you'd like to find more. Nice to meet you all.
Fantastic, Maya. Okay, our final pitch. Please welcome Ludmila Pontremoles. She is the founder and CTO of Zippy. Zippy is a startup that is providing crucial financial services to micro-entrepreneurs across Latin America. Please welcome Ludmila.
Zippy is all about helping micro-entrepreneurs lead a better life. Micro-entrepreneurs are the backbone of the Brazilian economy. 40% of our workforce works independently. These are door-to-door salespeople, street food vendors, beauty resellers on a mission to provide for their families. Together, they move over 1.1 trillion reais annually. And despite that, there are very few financial solutions built for them. That's why 4 years ago, my co-founders and I decided to tackle this problem, and we created the first working capital line specially built for Brazilian micro-entrepreneurs. We grant a 7-day revolving line that they can manage in their app. Our clients push a button to pay their suppliers via Pix. You're probably wondering, why the 7 days? Well, I bet a lot of you earn a monthly salary, right? So imagine if your bills were due quarterly. That would be hard to manage, right? Our clients are constantly buying and selling items, so the monthly credit lines simply don't work for them. We created a product that matches their economic cycle, so they always have the fuel to keep running their businesses. And all of this is Pix. Pix is the technology that was enabled 2 years ago by the central government. By using our product, before using our product, we're mostly using personal credit cards to fund their businesses. That is an expensive and slow rail to move money. There are players involved in every credit card transaction. It takes 28 days. If merchants want to get, they'll pay up to 15% for that. So, because we created a product that is radically better for a population that is eager for better solutions, we have been growing fast. In 2022, we grew 9x while improving our margins significantly. In 23, we're on track for impressive growth as well, with even better margins. We wouldn't have been able to tackle this immensely difficult problem if we didn't have the team that was just right for this and that had years tackling difficult financial problems. Andre was a financial instructor at Merrill Lynch and also a product manager at Money Hero. Bruno was a hedge fund investor at Gavia, focused on global financial institutions. And I have 10 years of experience building products for those who work independently. My name is Ludmila. I'm the co-founder at Zippy, and we are on track to creating a better life for every micro-entrepreneur in Brazil. If you want to learn more about what we're building, please reach out. Thank you.
Okay. Wonderful, Ludmila. That way, right there. That was fantastic. Okay, we did it. We got to the end of some incredible pitches. One last round of applause for the phenomenal founders who had to persevere through that with you here tonight. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a very short break. We'll be bringing out Paddy Cosgrave himself, the CEO and founder of Web Summit, to kick off Web Summit Rio 2023. If you hear any loud crashing noises backstage, that's us destroying all the microphones in the building. But we'll be right back. Trust us. Thank you.
I think we're bored. Bored of perfect, polished, pretty. I would much rather see chaotic energy.
Great ideas can come from anywhere.
I'm someone I never give up. Resilience is the word.
What problems there are that you can solve yourself.
We're developing not just the technology, but also the people around it and our organization, our understanding of how to work together.
You have to nurture a relationship for it to be successful.
And the best way to change that is not from the outside.
Be part of the dream, follow your passion, make the impossible possible.
You have the power to determine the direction in which this world moves.
If we can do it, everybody else can do it.
Let's do it together.
Welcome to the Q&A and Experiences stage. This is the stage that's all about you guys. You guys ask the questions.
I'm excited about this. I'm excited to be out there talking to people in person in 3D because for me personally, that's where I get ideas.
This kinds of thing I'm doing with you today, it's make me feel so much better.
I get a lot of questions about what we're doing, and this was sort of way up there on the scale of good question.
The idea of presence, where people share a space together, appreciating each other's music or making a song request, and then you just are okay to go on about your life, but you had a meaningful touch point.
The only way we can bring about the change is to be the change that you want to see. Thank you very much for coming.
My biggest fear is that we'll not figure out the answers in time.
The uncertainty that we live with is enormously challenging.
The world has a lot of problems, and fortunately, a lot of entrepreneurs to try to solve them.
The 5,000 people are coming from different countries, from different walks of life. That is the beginning of the change that we need.
To go first are what is driving our innovation.
Human beings are built for resilience, and creativity often emerges in times of great struggle.
We have to be able to dream of a future if we're going to be able to walk into it together.
Okay, wow. I've been away for 2 weeks.
can step into a new story. The status quo does not have to win.
We want to have a better future. We want to have a future.
We must fight. Now it's time for hope.
It's very important for conferences like this to exist.
They enable the movement of ideas.
The value of the conference was beyond just the week.
You get to get your message out to so many people.
If I had to boil down Collision to one word, it would be inspiring.
They're very collaborative. They're very inclusive.
It brings a diversity of different talent into the room.
The pitch competition was pretty amazing.
Pitching was pretty incredible. There was a lot of hype behind it.
I have had a number of people contact me after that pitch who are really interested in my company.
Collision's a really exciting event. It's really a very clear statement about the position for Toronto.
Toronto and Collision are hand in hand.
Welcome to Web Summit Rio.
Please welcome to the stage, founder and CEO of Web Summit, Paddy Cosgrave.
Good evening, Rio. How are you? Isn't this an incredible city? It's a good city. We're joined by people from almost 100 countries around the world. And of course, we're joined by Brazilians from all over Brazil. Do we have anybody from Sao Paulo? That's not very much noise. Do we have anybody from Sao Paulo? Do we have anybody here from Rio? I'm not going to call it. I don't want to get involved in a fight. At Web Summit, we have a little tradition. You really never know who you're going to meet over the next 3 days and nights in Rio. You never know who you're standing beside, sitting beside, queuing up for a coffee beside. There are people from all sorts of companies, of all sorts of sizes, from all corners of the world. And so we're going to stand up in a moment, and everybody in this audience is going to introduce themselves to 3 people, because you really just never know who you're sitting beside. Are we going to do it? Do you want to do it? Let's do it. Everybody up, introduce yourselves to 3 people. laser as I'm talking. I don't know who they are, but I'm hearing.
You can hear them.
Yeah, they're just straight in front. They're coming out of the microphones on the stage. Now, here comes the hard part. We got to get everybody seated again. This is very, 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 very difficult. Everybody's deep in conversation. It's hard to get people to sit down again. I see some friends from the Middle East. I see some friends from Ireland, Japan. There's all sorts of people here. If I could ask the last remaining people just to sit down and quietly take their seats. There's some people over here on the left. John, I can see you if you could sit down. Okay, let's get the show started. I want to introduce our very first speaker at our very first Web Summit outside of Europe, outside of Portugal, outside of Lisbon. He is a man with a vision for a more connected, more prosperous, and more advanced future for this city. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Mayor of Rio, Eduardo Paes.
So, good evening. First of all, I was supposed to speak in Portuguese, but they asked me to say a little words in English. So, first of all, thank you all for being here and welcome to the most beautiful city in the world. Rio welcomes you all with open arms. It is a great pleasure to speak here at the opening of this event that we fought so hard to win. And we won because we presented a detailed, clear, objective proposal with planning. So we have a plan for Rio, and the Web Summit is central to that plan, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. So I think that you all know that every city wants to host an event the size of the Web Summit, because any large event brings tourists, companies, generates income and upscales the local economy. It is a good thing for the city, and any city administration is always monitoring and trying to attract big events. But that's not the story of the Web Summit in Rio. It's not just for those reasons. It is the story of a city and an event that were born for each other. Almost everything that is Brazilian, and please, other guys from other states and other cities, don't be envied, and in Change the World was born in Rio. Samba, bossa nova, carioca funk, Brazilian football, Brazilian literature, all of them emerged from carioca citizens transforming the existing models and innovating. So the carioca way of life, our people's originality, irreverence, talent for creating and reinventing things, all of this has everything to do with the cultural and technological innovation. And the Web Summit is the biggest innovation and technology event in the world. That's why this event for us is much, much more than a big event. The Web Summit for Rio does not end on Thursday. I mean, firstly, because it doesn't really end. It will be at least 6 years, 6 editions in Rio until 2028. And I'm sure that Patty will not be able to leave Rio after these 6 editions. Secondly, because the Web Summit is different from any other major event due to the capacity for permanent transformation it brings to every city it goes. So just look at the example of Portugal. After the meeting is over, the opportunities remain. So entrepreneurs settle in, business settle down, conversations bear fruits, ideas take root. It has an entire innovation ecosystem that is created and powered by the Web Summit. That's why we are so pleased with Perry and his team decision to make Rio the second home of the Web Summit, because this is the decisive step of an ambitious plan, the plan I mentioned at the beginning and which I'm now going to name, transforming Rio de Janeiro into the capital of innovation in Latin America. And what does it mean? It means to put Rio on the global technology market map. It means making what is already the most iconic and visited city in Latin America into the most dynamic city and the most attractive for human, financial, and technological capital. A place to invest, to innovate, and mainly to be happy. Web Summit Rio is at the heart of the city project. It is the flagship of one of the pillars of our strategy, attracting the biggest companies, the most disruptive business, the brightest minds. The other two pillars of this plan are facilitate and qualify. Facilitating means breaking down barriers for those who want to run a business in Rio, reducing costs, difficulties, and bureaucracy. This is, in my opinion, is the main role of the state in this equation. That's why we created a technology district and reduced the tax for technology companies. That's why today it is faster to do real estate licensing in Rio than many other cities in the so-called first world. So those of you who are already in love, and that's not a hard thing to get, with the city, will be able to open a company here in less than a minute. And finally, qualify, a topic that I know it is very dear to you technology entrepreneurs, but it's also of great interest to young people of Rio, especially those from the peripheries of the city. Skilled labor is a scarce resource worldwide, especially in the innovation sector. So Rio City Hall has made a great effort to offer courses, internships, and opportunities in various areas of technology. In programming alone, we are going to train more than 5,000 young people in courses funded by the municipality until next year. So the message here for you, entrepreneurs and investors, Rio will have a workforce to absorb your demand. A smart, creative, enterprising, and innovative youth only needed training, and now they have it. And there will be more and more training opportunities since we have already started them then and will implement the STEAM methodology throughout the city's public education network. It is a two-way perspective because innovation has to be inclusive and because you only attract technology companies by qualifying the labor force. Together, these three pillars, attract, facilitate, and qualify, will drive a new moment in Rio, which officially begins today, here at Web Summit Rio. But in reality, it began 2 years ago when we started this administration. So one of the most difficult things a mayor has to do, and it's easy to be mayor of Rio, it's the most fantastic job in the world, is to foresee changes in the world, identify opportunities created by new contexts, and prepare the city to take advantage of these changes. That's exactly what we're trying to do here, and I really feel like I'm not simply opening an event, but a new moment for Rio de Janeiro. Now, guys, to finish, 2 words about what doesn't change in Rio. The landscape is stunning. We have the largest urban forest on the planet, seaside mountain ranges like no other metropolis, the biggest popular festival, Carnival, and one of the most famous beaches in the world, which is Copacabana, a vibrant, welcoming lifestyle. Rio means quality of life, and quality of life is also essential for attracting and retaining talent. Who wouldn't want to take a dip in the sea at the foot of Christ the Redeemer before starting the day at work. So I hope you enjoy the city, make connections, and make the decision that anyone can see at this moment is the most reasonable one in light of everything I've said here. Settle down permanently in Rio de Janeiro. Muito obrigado. Thank you very much.
Ayọ Tometi hoje é reconhecida mundialmente. O nome dela vem da língua Yorubá e significa alegria. Há cerca de 20 anos, ela luta por direitos humanos. A filha de imigrantes nigerianos aprendeu desde cedo que cada um deve usar sua voz para que os assuntos de raça e gênero estejam em discussão no mundo. Sem se esquecer de suas origens, a americana Ayọ segue na busca por justiça. A advogada e escritora é cofundadora do movimento Black Lives Matter, que protesta contra a violência a pessoas negras e a brutalidade policial, além de combater a desigualdade de raça. Ayọ também é uma das lideranças na questão dos direitos dos imigrantes. E ela diz que tudo isso é só o começo. Com vocês no palco do Web Summit, Ayọ Tometi.
Is the mic?
Might need a second one.
Oh, yes. Okay, my sound is working, but we'll get yours working.
Oh, good evening.
Yes.
How are you? It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. And we met early today in San Cristóvão, Rio de Janeiro. I interviewed Ayọ for Fantástico. It was amazing. It was amazing. It's a great pleasure to be with you here again today. Thank you so much. You are an inspiration for me and for many people. Thank you. Let's start? Yes. Black Lives Matter is celebrating 10 years. Can you remind us when your friend Alicia ended her post on Facebook with the hashtag Black Lives Matter?
Ele está aqui comigo. Ele disse que estavam ligados, o 4 e o 6, o 874 e o 876.
Oh no, it's a trick.
We will make this work. This is a technology conference. We will get it together. It's all good. It's all good. So 10 years ago, in July, we started Black Lives Matter. And it's hard to believe that it's been that long since we launched this movement. You know, it wasn't because we wanted to, but we were sick and tired of seeing unarmed Black people being killed by vigilantes, security guards, police officers, and so on. And we were sick and tired of the impunity that was happening. And so 7, 8, 9, almost 10 years later, we're now seeing that we have the largest social movement in history, according to the New York Times. We were nominated by the Nobel Peace Prize Committee, and we've seen millions and millions of people, allies, people of color, black leaders, different organizations, campaigns, and so on emerge as a result. And it's humbling, it's amazing, we deserve it, we deserve a better world, and it's exciting to be alive in this time and to be joining arms with so many brilliant and inspiring people around the world.
And what changes has the movement undergone during this period, during these last 10 years?
So we've seen a lot of improvements. I think there are a lot of times where people look and see that, yes, people are being killed still, we're still seeing disenfranchisement, if it's the healthcare sector, if it's education, or other challenges. But the truth is that we've raised a profound level of an awareness. There is a new consciousness that has taken over the globe, really, where we're seeing far and wide in different institutions, people making different changes, from the policy level to different hiring practices, to different ways in which campaigns are emerging where people are saying, this is not just about the criminal justice sector, but this is about healthcare, this is about education, this is about gender justice, this is about our democracy and ensuring that it works for everybody. And so it's been amazing to see that there has actually been progress. We have different elected officials that have been voted into office. We have seen more prosecutions where there has been injustice in the past. We have seen different people promoted who were rightfully due those promotions. But there still is a long way to go. I have to be honest about that.
And Ayọ, a Harvard researcher, Erika Chinowit, realized that the success of movements born on social media decreased in recent times. She explained these movements give the false sensation of confidence and they are not organized properly. Movements born in social media can create more chaos than results, maybe, I don't know. How can BLM change a hashtag into a longer lasting or a durable action?
Yeah, so I do think it's a misnomer that social movements are about the online space. I want us to be very clear. Social movements have existed throughout history. Ever since anybody or any community has been oppressed, we've always seen our communities come together, take action, and organize for justice. And so we'll see that happen no matter what time period, whether or not there is social media or whether there's traditional media. We still see people get in touch with their sense of worthiness, in touch with their sense of dignity, in touch with their sense of community, and organize. I like to remind people that back in the day when we look at people like Martin Luther King Jr., he used the newspaper. There are others who use the television. They use those communication tools to tell a story about their lives, to show the world what was going on. And so we're just fast forward some years later, and we're using communication tools of our time and of our generation. So, I'm a millennial. I grew up on the internet, and so what I'm going to use to communicate to the world and tell the story about what's happening to my community and the communities I care about is social media. I'm going to use Twitter, I'm going to use Instagram, I'm going to use Facebook, I'm going to use anything and every means possible. But the truth of the matter is we had to use those tools because our voices weren't being heard or picked up by traditional media. So we made our own media. We said, hey, we know that our lives matter. We value ourselves. We value what's taking place in our communities and what's been happening to us for years and years. We're going to tell those stories and amplify them. Whether or not any traditional media picks up on it, we know what's going on, and we're going to speak to one another and make sure that our voices are documented and amplified. And that's what we've seen happen over the years. But what I think is also important about what you're raising is that people are organizing in different ways, right? So I think about the pandemic and the ways in which people use those online tools to organize mutual aid, support for one another. So if it was getting people food during the pandemic, getting people masks with the pandemic, doing other types of activities to ensure that people were taken care of. And to me, that is so powerful, it's so important, and it shows you that, no, we're just using the tools. We're not going to be used by the tools. Yes. It's about our values.
And social media giants like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube have come out in support of BLM and its mission. But at the same time, these platformers are undermining this movement when they engaged posts against. Do you agree with that?
You know what? It is unfortunate to see the ways in which sometimes our messages are sensitized. It's a fact. This is, the thing that I have to tell everybody is that media, technology is not neutral. There are some stories that get more preference in the media, on social media, and so on. And so those platforms do prefer certain types of voices, certain types of videos or images, and our content oftentimes gets moderated and gets placed down lower in the feed. And so this is a problem. This is a challenge. Yes, those platforms may make some symbolic statements, but the fact of the matter is we need substantive actions. We need measures that demonstrate their real commitment to our communities and that don't censor our voices and our concerns just because people are afraid or scared or don't like what we have to say. No, our voices deserve to be heard, and we can't have these algorithms working against our voices and our actions.
And do you believe that big techs understand that they will be judged by the history in some ways for the decisions they are making right now? And what could they be doing now that they are not doing?
Well, I definitely believe that it's important that all of us take stock about what we are doing in this moment. Right now, we are living in a capital H history-making moment, and we can be found on the right side of history or the wrong side of history. There is no lack of work for us to be doing right now. And everything we're doing counts, it matters, and it's not neutral. So we can be taking the types of action that moves us forward, or we can be taking the types of action that moves us backwards. But there is no neutral in times like this. And so I believe that it's important for us to ensure that if we're part of an organization or a technology company or a media company, that we find ourselves on the right side of history, that we're advancing issues around justice, that we're taking stock of inequality and the injustices that are going on and saying, enough is enough. It's high time that we see and hear more voices, and we see technology in particular be built and designed with us in mind. That's a big part of that.
And Brazil, like the US, saw its democracy under attack at January 8th. And this attack was encouraged mainly by far-right movements born in social media. How could movements like BLM deal with the algorithms that threaten our democracy? And do we need a multiracial democracy that works for everybody?
Yeah, you know what? We are living in a time where democracies all across the world are under threat. This is happening, be it through right-wing movements, be it through the ways in which certain technologies or voting systems are being questioned about whether or not they're working and whether or not they're effective. But I think what we have to question is why this is emerging now. The reason this is emerging now is because there are voices like ours, people of color, who have the unction, the courage to speak up and to speak out and to demand equality and justice for our lives. And it's no coincidence that we're seeing these regressive movements that have emerged to say, no, stop. Your voice doesn't matter. And essentially use the guise of voting as a way to suppress our voices. And it's very disconcerting. I know it's happened in the United States. I know it's happening here in Brazil. And I think we all have a vested interest in ensuring that our democracies function. You know, we are already living in a multiracial society, And what we need is for it to work effectively for all of us. We deserve it. We're able to achieve it with all the amazing minds, all the amazing, brilliant reporting, the data, the stories, the countless videos. We have a plethora of information at our fingertips. But it is a disservice if we have all that information and we don't take action. So right now, what I'm encouraging people to do is take action on the awareness that we've now had. All this information that's at our disposal. Let's ensure that we have multiracial democracies that work for all of us. It's that simple.
And tell me about the government, because this week a bill that establishes rules for digital platforms here in Brazil will be voted on. What should the role of state be in this matter?
Well, this is an important question as well, because this is something that we've been dealing with in the United States as well as people around the world, and that is of quote-unquote fake news, but legitimately fake news, information that we know has been debunked, information that is not real, it's not factual, it's not based in any rigor or science, and it has no place in our public discourse. And I do believe that platforms that are supposed to be real news outlets or real media outlets that share our information do have a responsibility in ensuring that real data is in the hands of our citizenry. We do not need everyday people having information and dispersing and amplifying information that is just not real, that's not true. It does a disservice to us. It does a disservice to our lives, to the quality of our living, and it causes more divisiveness when there oftentimes isn't a real issue going on. And so to me, this is actually a very important bill. I hope it goes forward because the consequences are dire. We've seen violence break out as a result when this fake news is dispersed. We've seen people literally die as a result. And then we're also seeing various issues, even in the United States, there was a recent report about the ways in which even our government sometimes can be complicit. Back in 2020, 2021, when there were a lot of protests and uprisings, the FBI paid informants to sneak into our organizations and different groups to try and stop them. This type of misinformation that's even being spread by paid detractors is also important for us to take note and to be wise and mindful of the fact that even in our midst, we have people who might be trying to sow seeds of discord and disinformation. These kinds of challenges are around, but we have to ensure that we have checks and balances, and we have organizations, entities, media outlets that take the responsibility and the onus and say, no, we're not going to amplify information that we know is patently false.
Let's talk about AI, because AI could be a window for the future, but they actually reflect what we are, our prejudice and our vision of life. A lot can go wrong when we put blind faith in big data. Then I ask for you, what are the risks of trusting 100% in AI like GPT chat that is being so much used for researching, and what's the way out?
This is the billion or billions dollar question. And I'll just say this, I am an investor and advisor to AI organizations and groups, so I believe in technology. I value technology. It's literally why I'm here. I think it's very important, and it's the future. It's where we're going. However, we do know that there are tools and technologies that are being developed right now that aren't being informed with the best practices. The fact of the matter is, we live in racist societies. This is a fact. I can't mince my words, and we gotta be honest and deal with the facts. And because we know that those ideologies and those values are part of our society, we have to know that those inform our technology. Those inform our products. These are not neutral. So even as we're designing, we have to keep the outcome in mind. Or better yet, if we already have technology or already have products out in the world, we have to look at the outcome. And by the outcome, we will know, is this tech racist? By what we're seeing. It will always bear fruit. We will know what is going on with that technology by the fruit it bears. And the fact is, those who are building those technologies, those who are putting their ideas into those technologies, have their value systems. And even for seemingly neutral technologies, even like the art AI, right? A lot of that AI that was coming around where people were posting it on Instagram and so on, Eurocentric features. All of the art was looking one way or another, and it wasn't looking like us, right? And so we have to be mindful of the fact that the art, even the health disparities, because guess what? Some of the AI that's being used in the healthcare system, they're not taking into account the way in which certain symptoms show up in people of color versus our counterparts. These are realities, and the data that we're feeding these technologies matters.
So who codes matters, how we codes matters, why we code matters.
100%.
Oh, thank you so much. And last question for is
One more question. Yes. Let's do it.
And how this fight for racial justice start before you were born, and how do you keep yourself optimistic and energized? And please tell to the audience about your name, Ayọ. That means joy.
Yes, thank you for that question. First of all, I will say, honestly, meeting people like you inspires me, okay? Seriously, this woman. Powerhouse. So being in spaces like this, having exchanges like this, it fuels me, it gives me that energy to keep going. It reminds me that courage is contagious. I get to meet people literally around the world who are rising up, who are finding their voices, who are taking action, and that gives me so much fuel to keep going. And then, of course, I look at my godkids, my friends and their little ones, and I'm looking at the future generation, and I just want a better world for them. And that keeps me going. And lastly, I'm fueled by my culture, by my sense of pride in my people. I'm of Nigerian descent. I'm Yoruba and Ishan. And my middle name is Ayọ, and that's what I go by, Ayọ. And that means joy in the Yoruba language. And for me, that sense of commitment to joy, that's our birthright. It's not only for me, but it's for all of us. And to me, part of achieving joy is achieving justice, that sense of vitality, that sense that we can thrive, and that sense that we can live into our possibility. It's a spiritual thing, it's an energetic thing, and it's for all of us. And so that is the meaning of my name, Ayọ.
And last question, please. I would love to say, what did you choose, activism, or was it activism that chose you?
Ooh, okay. I will say activism chose me. I would probably be doing interior design. I love art and creativity, but because I saw various challenges, even from a young child to getting older, I saw immigration challenges with people in my community. I saw my friends being discriminated against. I started working at a domestic violence shelter. I've seen so many things over the years that inspired me to get involved. And so honestly, activism chose me, and I'm very proud to be part of a tradition of organizing, because not only did I do one-off activism, but I said, no, we have to develop a strategy that takes us across time, where we have a vision and we achieve that vision by setting different benchmarks and we go towards it. And so to me, organizing is really where it's at. Organizing, building our power, building that power so we can transform our society for the better, so that it's most effective for everybody.
you, Ayọ Tometi. Thank you so much.
Obrigada.
Hello! It works.
Let me see if mine works.
Yeah, it does.
Oi, Brasil! Tudo bem com vocês?
Hi, everyone. My name is Casey Lau. I am the co-host of the Rise Conference Web Summit's Hong Kong show. We have a bunch of shows around the world, as you probably know, in Lisbon. We have one in Toronto, as Sunil told you about. And we have a new one coming out in Qatar. And today we're doing a first one here in Rio. And I'd like to introduce you to our co-host here in Rio, Laura Vicente. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Casey. Obrigada, gente. Estou muito feliz com o convite da Globo e do Web Summit para apresentar esse evento tão magnífico na frente de tanta gente. E a gente precisa mostrar para eles o quanto o Brasil é maravilhoso.
So this is my very first time in Brazil.
Yeah. Casey, let's just start on something that's been bugging me a little bit. Every time you guys want to say Brazil, you say Brazil. So can we just try to correct that?
Tell me how to properly pronounce it.
Brasil. Brasil.
Brasil.
Yeah.
Close?
That's a 2.
Is that good? What do you think? Was that good? No?
That's
okay.
a 2, right?
Okay, I'll try it again.
Can you guys please help me teach him Brasil?
Brasil. Brasil.
That was a 3. Okay,
better?
That's
Okay.
better. That's better.
Okay, well, I also want to know, how do you say Web Summit is cool? Like if I was a local Rio person.
Okay, if we're in Rio, I would say Web Summit é irado.
Say that again.
I would say Web Summit é
Yeah.
irado.
Irado. Web Summit irado.
Web Summit é irado.
Do I have to do the head movement?
Yes,
too?
otherwise it won't come out. Irado.
All right, okay, great. Well, anyways,
Do you want to learn how to samba?
I'll learn more from you over the next 3 days.
Samba?
Samba? Yeah, we're going to do samba later, right?
Okay, later.
Okay, great. All right, so before we get to our next talk of the evening, we have a little surprise for one of the lucky person here. We're going to upgrade your Web Summit ticket to VIP status to Web Summit Rio 2023. So you can hang out with the speakers and investors backstage. Pretty cool, right? So have a drink with Ayọ and Maju, or maybe split a steak sandwich with Luciano Huck. Who knows what will happen back there?
So, one of you lucky attendees who made it into the sold-out opening night has a golden ticket, but you just don't know it yet. Yes, we're coming to an Oprah moment, so please have a look under your seat and see if you're the lucky opening night attendee.
And Sunil Sharma is in the audience
here,
right
I'm
now.
here. I'm looking.
Okay, where are you, Sunil?
Where are you?
Up here.
Okay,
Under your seats.
Sunil, have you found the lucky ticket?
Under your seats. Let's go. I don't see it back here.
Do you have it?
I don't see it back here.
Do you have it? Do you guys have it?
Anyone over here?
How about up there in the
VIP
bleachers,
I have
maybe?
a feeling that it might be here. No? Here?
There's no tickets?
How about these guys in the front?
Was it the
Oh.
AV guy? Oh!
Over here.
Here we are.
No, over there.
Okay.
Yay!
That's
one
not the
second.
tickets, overly.
Okay, one
This
second.
one over here.
Okay, all right. 1 second. What's your, Paula. Okay, what's your full name, Paula?
I'm Paula Machado.
Paula Machado. And where are you from, Paula? Where are you from?
I'm from Rio.
From Rio, of course. Okay, we're gonna go have some champagne. Before we do, I have a skill testing question. You probably heard, I'm from Canada, from Toronto, Canada, where Collision is. So I'm gonna give you a name of some famous
Louder,
celebrities.
Sunil.
I'm gonna give you the names of some famous celebrities, and you're gonna tell me which one is Canadian, okay? I'm gonna say them really fast, okay? So here we go. Drake, The Weeknd, Shawn Mendes, Justin Bieber, Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling, William Shatner, Elon Musk. You don't know. Drake. You said Drake, but here's the funny thing. They are all Canadian.
Well.
All right, let's go have a drink. Come with me. All right, Paula.
All right, round of applause, Paula. Great, great.
Champagne.
Lucky sitting in the right seat.
Congratulations, Paula. I think you're in for a very fun week. And now we're going to do something that is very close to my heart and close to all of our hearts. In fact, it's something that's close to the heart of the whole world, as the Amazon rainforest is the lungs of the planet. It contains ancient civilization and vast ecosystems essential to global biodiversity. What role can technology play for preserving this vital natural resource and making it flourish for next generations to come? To answer this, we're joined now by a man who needs no introduction to Brazilians, one of our most famous TV presenters and influencers. Com vocês, Luciano Huck.
Obrigado. Boa noite a todos. Rapaz, está cheio. Feriadão, hein? Bom, muito obrigado pela presença de todos aí, obrigado pelo convite, é um prazer estar aqui. A notícia dura é que pediram para fazer isso aqui em inglês. E eu faltei em várias aulas, e agora que a gente sente falta disso. Meu filho está aqui hoje, vai reclamar do meu acento, mas vamos tentar. Então, posso virar a chave? Ligar? Eu também não gostaria, mas fazer o quê, né? Bora. Bom, não ri quando eu começar a falar inglês, combinado? Sem me sacanear, por favor. Vou fazer o meu, I will do my best. Vou tentar. Bom, vamos lá. First of all, for everyone who is connected with us around the globe, thanks a lot. And I want to start this night telling that the success is the enemy of innovation. Amazon wasn't created by Sears, Citibank wasn't created by PayPal, either ABC Network didn't create Netflix. So that's why I'm here tonight on this stage. This is one of the most respected events in the world when it comes to technology and innovation. And more than telling, I think along this week I will be here to listen and to learn. When we think that we know everything about certain subjects, that's when we actually become obsolete. And I was thinking about how I could contribute to this event, this opening, to plant some seed here that could be humbly, but can already bring something new in some event that is super powerful and thought-provoking universe here altogether. For centuries, the world's development was being associated with new technologies, and development was hardly taken nature and environment into account, and the impact and the consequences of this kind of development with technology. But this changed, the world had changed, and I think that I also changed a lot, and that's why I'm bringing this subject to this stage tonight. Look what we experienced like last week or 2 weeks ago. The most powerful names in global technology are asking the planet to take it easy when it comes to artificial intelligence. By the way, I want to share with you guys that this speech that I'm doing in English, I was helped by ChatGPT, okay? This morning, it worked super well. And obviously, I'm not going to risk myself talking about artificial intelligence or even about technology in this stage of the majority of all of you guys here are have more knowledge about this issue than me. So I won't go for this side. That I was thinking that the seed that I decided to plant today is about something that I truly like truly is part of my life, that fascinates me, and then truly I have a deep interest that is about people. In the past few decades, I think two major events has been very important in my personal life. The first of them was do my work on television, on TV, where I had the privilege of traveling this entire country from end to end, from the north to the south, east, west, all over. And the most important thing was that I was welcome with open arms wherever I've been, in families, all the families that I knocked doors around this country, willing to talk, willing to pay attention in them, to listen to their stories, their dreams, with real curiosity. Watching my TV show, I think some of you have already did, you can think that I'm impacting in a positive way on the life of the people where I'm telling the story on TV. But I assure you guys, all of you, that is the opposite. I have been impacted a lot in the last 25 years. João Moreira Salles, that I highly recommend his new book, it's called Arrebalte. He starts his first sentence of the book is about this. It's hard to understand when you're not paying attention. Paying attention is always the first step. Only then comes the enchantment, the care, and who knows, love. I like paying attention. I'm a curious man. I'm a positive, I'm an optimist. And my son always complains about that. I always say that everything's going to be all right. It's going to be sunny. The flight won't delay, always. I said, Dad, it's not like that in life. Okay. The second factor that is more intense than the first one is that since 24 of May of 2015, my family and I have been survivors in an airplane crash. And that was super transformative. After a few months, after the physical and the emotional consequences of this episode passed, came enormous gratitude, a gratitude for everyone in my family and those who were with us at the plane that was okay, gratitude for a second chance in life, and I think that sparked a desire to positively try to impact the world, try to give back this second chance. And from there came the desire and the initiative to participate more and more and more about trying to contribute in an intensive way to try to build a country less unequal, more just, entrepreneurial, efficient, that I truly believe that Brazil can be. At this time, this moment in my life, I think that I'm living now, my greatest contribution is being able to use the broadcast TV, where I'm working right now, as an explanation and transformation tool that can talk to 40 million Brazilians every week. For me, this is a huge privilege. My daughter Eva, who is 10 years old right now, when she was around 6, she could only understood what her father was doing for a living when I said, listen, Eva, Daddy is like a YouTuber that each content that I put on YouTube is watched by 40 million people in the first hour. She said, wow. Then she started looking differently for me. Returning to the seed I want to plant today on this stage, as advice help, but example drag, here I go. We are in a country that was born with the idea that wealth would come from the destruction of the nature. And I truly believe that our maturity will come from the diametrically opposite mentality. I doubt that with a time of a generation we will be able to produce toys cheaper than China or electronics better than Taiwan. But no other country has the natural resources and the agribusiness cultural potential like we do. To give an analogy, if we live around Willy Wonka's chocolate factory world, Brazil would have a golden chocolate bar in his hands, But if we don't take this seriously, we will miss a huge opportunity. On TV, have been trying to explain in simple and popular terms some important topics that need to be discussed beyond the powerful circles about government and whatever. For example, climate agenda, protection and conservation of our forests, respect for indigenous people, and the potential of our agriculture that can produce and preserve at the same time. Let me give an easier to understand example in history. Books, it's common to find phrases like the first explorers or those who were taken to occupy the Amazon region saying, oh, when I got here, there was nothing. What? The Amazon was never empty, an empty land. It's estimated that in the 16th century, between 8 to 10 million people habitate the forest, indigenous people who was decimated by time. Today, 27 million Brazilians live in the forest or in his franjas. And here is my belief. If we don't take care of these people, we will never take care of the forest. Shooting for TV, a few weeks ago, like 4 weeks ago, I was in Tumbira. ChatGPT couldn't translate Tumbira. It's in the heart of the forest, Amazonas, getting to know Roberto. Roberto is the son of a family of 9 siblings, the 3rd generation of, this is good also, ChatGPT couldn't translate madeireiros. He put lumberjackers, or woodcutters, mas é madeireiro mesmo, tá? I try. Well, he was the 3rd generation of madeireiros. And the good news, me and him, we worked together. You can go with the TP. Okay. Me and him, we was together, and we could make the count that during his life, we calculate that alone, Roberto has already cut down 60,000 adult trees of noble woods, and he's 50 years old. Huh? And TP is completely crazy. Entrou anúncio do Nubank agora no meu TP. Agora fudeu. Estava falando da Amazônia, entrou no Nubank, o banco do não sei o que lá. Eu falei, como assim? Agora esse DP saiu, vai ser em português. Aí, vocês me desculpem a organização. Aí vocês querem o quê? Eu estou fazendo o meu melhor aqui. Olha o que está escrito lá. Nubank Stories, the History of Tech in Latam. Bom... O que eu faço? Eu vou lá atrás reclamar ou eu continuo em inglês? O que eu faço? Eu quero meu tempo de volta, hein? I want my time back. Can you change what I was reading? If not, I will go in Portuguese. Eu vou em português até voltar. Mas o fato é... Oh, não melhorou? Oh, the point is, eu tento em inglês, eu vou tentar, mas vai ficar uma merda, vou tentar, tá? Bom, eles estão lá se virando. Ah, eu tenho escrito. Será que eu vou no escrito? Vai ficar ridículo eu ficar lendo aqui na frente de vocês. Mas pode ser o meu guia, vai. Um homem precavido vale por 2. Tá! Esse é o Roberto, tá? O Roberto é um gente fina demais de Tumbira. Tá aqui, eu vou na boa aqui. Roberto, for the last 10 years, had never cut down even 1 tree. Why? And his son also haven't cut 1 tree. Because in 2018, the Sustainable Development Reserve of Rio Negro was created, bringing awareness to his community. They suggested a new occupation for Roberto. Sustainable tourism was the suggestion for them. In a week, he earned more than he was used to make in a whole month. And then this changed his life. Roberto is amazing. To show the importance of Amazonian people to the TV audience, I'm going to give him the spotlight at Domingão, sharing his inspiring story. He's charismatic and he has an incredible narrative. Things like that, if you spoke if it's spoken by me on TV, would just be another phrase. But when it's spoken from someone like Roberto, that is real life, I'm sure that this can touch people and make them think about it. Roberto said he's not an activist. And he ensured that the only way to keep the forest standing is to generate sustainable incomes for the people who live there. Because a man in the forest, with children hungry at home, he will cut down a tree without thinking twice. And this, the people watching at TV Globo Domingão will understand. This is Roberto Zistumbira. And to transform the beautiful story into potent television content that could truly capture the eyes, this is beautiful, the eyes of the audience and help Roberto understand how everything in nature and climate is connected, we took him, someone who had never left the forest, to see with his own eyes the consequences and the connection of deforestation and climate change. We would show him that trees cut down in the Amazon are connected to the melting of the polar ice caps. Together, Roberto, me and him, we've been there 2 weeks ago. We went to southern Patagonia, and it was beautiful. When Roberto was facing the ice melting, breaking apart and falling in the sea, Roberto started crying. I really enjoyed trying to explain these complex and thought topics in a simple and more understandable way. That's why I love broadcast TV. Another example, and going to the end of my speech here, is about Neidinha and Almir, a family from Cacoal, Rondônia, where I've been like 5 weeks ago. Yes, Rondônia é o bicho. Rondônia is an animal. I met first Almir in a conference about Amazon in Princeton, New York, and was super impressed by his leadership skills, and as an indigenous leader, as the Paiter Surui is the name of the people over there. He was able to discuss the indigenous issues with the president of the Brazilian Agribusiness Association in front of me, keeping his cool and presenting his ideas well. Later, I met his ex-wife, Neidinha. She was honored on Domingão at Troféu Inspiração. Almir is a leader, and Neidinha is a powerful activist. I was so curious about the work that I went to visit their land in Rondônia. Yes, só você. Você ouviu para Rondônia e fala, ei, Rondônia! Aí, beleza, muito bem. The Paiter Surui and their land face pressure for all sides. From agribusiness to drug trafficking, from gold mining to illegal woodcutters. It's super impressive. They generate incomes that reverse it to protect their culture and people. The Paiter Surui produce regenerative coffee and cocoa on their land, which is the only original forest left in the region. If you open the Google Earth, it's unbelievable. You open Cacoal, the only piece of land that's still the forest there is the indigenous land. All around is gone. You have agribusiness super strong over there. Beside that, you have like Três Corações, that is one of the biggest, largest coffee industries, companies in Brazil that are producing with them. We're buying all the production of this indigenous coffee in a brand called Tribus. It's super, super nice. Can I show a little bit when I was in Rondônia? Thank you. Play.
Quer decolar hoje para Rondônia, para Cacoal, que a gente vai visitar os Paiter Surui. Uma coisa é você ler na televisão, outra coisa é você sentir na pele, de fato, o engajamento da comunidade, ver como é que ela funciona de perto. Nada paga isso. Fui para tudo, fui conhecer os Zoés de perto, fui conhecer os Waiwai, rodei bastante aqui mesmo. E vi vários recortes diferentes de Amazônia e de populações indígenas com necessidades muito diferentes. O que me chama a atenção aqui do que eu vi é um grupo indígena, Neidinha, se me corrija se estiver errado, que está muito perto do homem branco, está muito perto da sociedade, está muito perto da cidade, mas ao invés de sucumbir ao garimpeiro, tenta desenvolver aqui dentro um tipo de economia que possa ser sustentável, quer vender o seu café, quer vender fruta, quer tentar fazer turismo. Mas a pergunta é a seguinte: se isso se sustenta, se isso é um sonho, uma utopia que vocês estão criando, ou se vocês realmente acham que isso existe, que dá para fazer e que a gente consegue multiplicar isso em povos que também têm a mesma condição de vocês.
A gente tenta ensinar que é possível desenvolver economicamente respeitando a floresta, pensando o futuro, valorizando a cultura, responsabilidade social, responsabilidade ambiental, responsabilidade econômica.
É utopia? Não. Dá para replicar? Dá. Já estão replicando? Estão.
É muito maneiro, muito, muito, muito. And going to the end, Roberto from Tumbira. Neidinha, Almir, show that we can produce incomes and wealth for the forest people without cutting down a single tree. To wrap up my talk, o TP voltou, ó. Ó, eu dobrando meu papelzinho, ó. Ó. Thank you. Ah, pra porra. O cara tá no feriado de 1º de maio. Sai da praia. Pra ficar com vergonha na frente de 5.000 pessoas aqui. Bora lá. So, to wrap my speech here at the Web Summit, I want to plant a seed for the future. As a father of 3 that I am with my wife, I know how hard it is to raise children. And I imagine the pride of Almir and Neidinha feel seeing their daughter is speaking up about the planet, having the whole planet listen to her in such an important platform. So now I'm going to show you who is the son of Neidinha and Almir that you just saw on the image. Play again. The daughter.
Tem quantos anos?
Tenho 11.
Quando você vê a Chay, que é uma jovem indígena como você, podendo representar teu povo e falando coisas que o mundo inteiro está ouvindo, como é que você enxerga isso?
É buína, cadê a mãe caricando?
Eu estou dizendo que ela inspira.
My name is Chai Surui. I'm 1 in 24, but my people have been living in the Amazon forest at least 6,000 years. Today, the climate is warming, the animals are disappearing, the rivers are dying, and our plants don't flower like they did before. The earth is speaking. She tells us that we have no more time. It's not 2030 or 2050, it's now.
Neidinha and Almir, I'm sure they are proud as parents. And I, Luciano, I'm proud as Brazilian to have someone like Chay around. So, for everyone, I'm honored to invite her on stage to be applauded and to close this session with me. Senhoras e senhores, com vocês, Chay Surui.
Canaonga, uma maleca e gatica. Canaonga, uma maleca e gatica.
Muito obrigado. A Chay falou que ela não vai falar inglês. Jogamos junto. Não, eu estava falando aqui, parou minha tela lá, você viu, né? Bom, Chay, first of all, thank you a lot. Muito obrigado por estar aqui, obrigado por compartilhar. E eu acho que a provocação que eu te faço, a gente está num evento onde a gente reúne pensadores de políticas públicas, lideranças, empreendedores, CEOs de grandes empresas de tecnologia, ativistas, jovens, estudantes, todo mundo tentando entender e responder qual que é o próximo passo. No momento em que o mundo está vivendo, de um lado, a inteligência artificial, do outro lado, uma guerra na Europa. Então, acho que você, como liderança indígena, muito jovem, falando para o mundo inteiro, What is the next step? Qual que é o próximo passo?
Primeiramente, obrigada, Luciana, pelo convite. Boa noite a todos. Como fui apresentada, eu sou Chay Suruí, sou do povo Paité Suruí, de Rondônia.
Só um minutinho, quando você fala Rondônia, você fala Rondônia.
Estado de Rondônia.
Obrigado.
Da Amazônia brasileira, E quando eu cheguei, Luciano, me fizeram uma pergunta, Qual que é a importância de se falar de Amazônia num evento tão grande como esse que fala de tecnologia, E você imagina que, como você disse, a gente está vivendo hoje a maior crise que a humanidade já viveu, que é a crise do clima. E nós, povos indígenas, estamos na linha de frente contra essa batalha, essa maior batalha que a gente está vivendo. Somos nós os maiores guardiões da floresta, Somos 5% de toda a população do mundo e protegemos 82% de toda a biodiversidade. Então, o nosso compromisso é um compromisso de vida. E hoje, junto com o conhecimento ancestral e a tecnologia, a gente vem fazendo isso. A gente vem completando a missão mais importante no momento hoje, que é a missão de proteger as nossas florestas, de proteger o nosso clima, para que a gente possa ter um futuro possível e habitável. E é por isso que a gente fala que o conhecimento é ancestral, porque para se existir, ou o futuro é ancestral, porque para se existir um futuro, ele precisa passar por essa ancestralidade. E nós, povos indígenas, viemos fazendo isso, utilizando a tecnologia. Por exemplo, você conhece meu pai, Luciano? Você sabe que ele é um cara muito visionário, que desde 2012 começou um projeto com o Google, uma das maiores empresas de tecnologia que existe, para proteger a floresta e para falar de nós, povos originários, ou seja, junto com a tecnologia e o conhecimento ancestral, a gente vem fazendo uma coisa que é semear sonhos. Os sonhos são muito importantes para a gente. E você imagina que é disso que a gente fala. A gente vem falando de sonhos, a gente vem falando de futuro, a gente vem falando de construção. E hoje, nessa maior batalha que a gente enfrenta, na luta pela proteção dos nossos direitos, do nosso território, e que isso significa vida, e que isso deveria ser uma luta de todos nós, eu venho aqui hoje, então, fazer isso. O Luciano me perguntou o que me move, e são esses sonhos que são tão importantes para a gente, de qualidade de vida e de bem viver, não só para nós, mas para todos. Então, como o meu tempo está acabando, eu convido a todos vocês a compartilharem desse sonho comigo. Um sonho onde nossos territórios, onde nossos povos sejam livres e onde a gente possa falar de futuro, com essas tecnologias que já existem, que já estão sendo colocadas em práticas, essas soluções que já estão sendo colocadas em práticas dentro do nosso território, para adiar esse fim do mundo e para segurar esse céu mesmo. Então, é isso. Muito obrigada.
Eu queria te colocar, Chay, só para encerrar aqui, por favor. Mais do que merecido. Queria te colocar duas coisas. Eu tive, poucas semanas atrás, eu sentei naquela roda ali com seus tios, com seu pai, todos eles, só o seu pai falava português comigo, todos os seus tios falando na língua originária do povo ali, e foi muito bonito, foi uma noite muito especial. E eu acho que você já é a segunda geração potente dos Paiter Suruí, que tem uma coisa muito importante que o Brasil precisa de mais, que é a capacidade de diálogo, de sentar e ouvir e colocar suas ideias. Mesmo num país que está tão dividido como a gente está vivendo hoje, ter a capacidade de diálogo que você tem, que sua mãe tem, que seu pai tem de diferentes maneiras, é um ativo que precisa ser preservado, precisa ser mostrado nos palcos e aplaudido, porque isso faz uma enorme diferença. E agora só uma curiosidade, para a gente encerrar, o teu cântico e o teu som nos pés, o que significa quando você entrou aqui? Só que eu fiquei bastante curioso.
É um cântico de recepção, na verdade, É um cântico de acolhimento, porque eu acho que, como eu falei, a gente fala disso, de sonhos, a gente fala de amor, a gente fala de semear as mentes, reflorestar as mentes e os corações. Então, eu comecei esse canto para que, né, também os espíritos da floresta, que é quem, né, fazem parte da nossa espiritualidade, e esse entendimento de ser natureza, sejam acolhidos por vocês também, por nós, né, nessa noite de hoje, né, para que a gente entenda, né, que a gente faz parte desse mundo, né, que a gente precisa da natureza, e que a tecnologia ela pode ser um grande aliado, né, nessa grande batalha que eu falei para vocês. Então, é isso.
Muito obrigado, senhoras e senhores. Então, para reflorestar as nossas mentes e os nossos corações, a gente agradece a receptividade, deseja uma semana muito boa para reflorestar num evento tão potente quanto esse. Tchau, obrigado pela confiança e por estar aqui essa noite. E a todos, muito obrigado e uma boa noite. Fiquem com Deus. Obrigado mesmo.
All right, here's last and final talk for the evening. Nubank's story is the story of tech in LATAM for the last decade. It disrupted a seemingly impervious banking institution, became the golden child of tech on this continent, chose Brazil as its base, and like many companies, witnessed challenging times. Now it's time to dive into the fascinating story of Nubank and the no less fascinating story of its founder and CEO, David Vélez.
Good evening. Boa noite para todo mundo. We're going to speak in English, you know already. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Really pleasure. And to be with David also. David, thank you so much. We are going to talk about the digital revolution, banking revolution here in Brazil. And David is the best person to talk about this. So, David, let's begin. Nubank was the pioneer among digital financial institutions in Brazil. What motivated a Colombian to open a digital bank in Brazil 10 years ago?
Thanks, Chris, and thanks everyone for being here. It's a pleasure. If somebody had told me 10 years ago, and we're turning 10 next month, so we're our first decade, they're going to be able to be here in front in a scenario talking about our history, I would have not believed it. And it really began as a lot of startup stories began. I have moved to Sao Paulo. I went across the corner to open a bank account, and I entered a world of pain. It took me 2 hours to navigate a banking branch. I was trapped in a bulletproof door. I had to leave my notebook and my smartphone in a locker. I had to go and wait for 45 minutes to talk to somebody to help me open a bank account. I had to go back to the branch several times. And after about 5 months trying to open a bank account, this just did not make any sense. I started asking, how is it possible that banks are offering that service? And how is it possible that people are agreeing with that and there's no more alternatives? I started asking my friends, are there any opportunities? Is there any options? And there wasn't anything really. So I started asking around about the opportunity of building an online bank. Obviously, the digitalization and technology was just beginning at that point. This was 2012. And after talking to a lot of experts that told me, David, forget it. It's impossible to do that in Brazil. The big banks are going to crush you. There is no way that you can compete. The regulators won't let you. The government won't let you. The customers won't let you. I had to try. I had to try. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so in 2013, brought a couple of pirates, co-founders that joined me, and the rest is history.
So 10 years after, you have 80 million customers, 75 here in Brazil. Many of them were even banked before you opened Nubank. I'd like to know, how do you achieve this feat?
So obviously, there was a fair amount of work building the first product and then scaling the entire platform. But the reality, and sometimes I almost surprised myself, it was actually extremely simple. It was a simple insight that was very complex to execute. But the simple insight was that people wanted to be treated well, that customers wanted a fast answer, they wanted good products, they wanted to be prioritized. They did not want to spend 2 hours in a banking branch trying to talk to a branch manager. They did not want to be paying hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fees. They were ready for alternatives. They were ready to test new stuff. And so I think ultimately we went with that insight that we wanted to create a company and a culture that was obsessed about the consumer, that was obsessed about building a phenomenal product. And as we scaled, we tried to improve our products again and again and again. So we found that banked customers were ready to embrace new offers. And then we found that unbanked customers obviously wanted to be banked. People did not want to have their money under their mattress. People did not necessarily want to be formalized. They want a credit card. They want their first debit card. So ultimately, that was our bet, that people were going to be wanting to be treated well, and that we were going to be able to offer a great product and scale together with them.
And what are, in general, the special or the most important changes you see during these 10 years after you opened Nubank in the banks here in Brazil and in the relationship between the customer and the banks?
Yeah, so it's been very interesting to see how the entire competitive landscape has evolved. And I always like to quote a quote that apparently is by Gandhi. Nobody really knows if in the internet it's by Gandhi, but he apparently said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then fight you, and then you win. And through the 10 years, we've seen those stages. We were initially completely ignored. We were a little startup with a couple of people trying to launch a purple credit card, and then we got a license, and then we launched a new conta. But we were completely ignored for a very long time. And then we went into they laugh at you, and we were ridiculed. How is it possible? They're never going to make any money. They're never going to scale. They're never going to get a license. They're never going to get past 100,000 customers, past 1 million customers, past 10 million customers. And then they went into the fighting mode. And definitely that has been probably the last couple of years where banks are competing very, very effectively. And some of them have done a phenomenal job. They are improving their culture. They're improving their products. They are focusing on the consumer, which is great for everybody. It's very, very healthy competition where ultimately everybody wins. So consumers get more alternatives, and it forces more people, more institutions to be better. When we started in Brazil, more or less, 5 banks owned 85% of the financial services system in Brazil. Today, those 5 banks own 70%. So the concentration has gone from 85 to 70 in 10 years. I would say that's very healthy for the government. That's very healthy for Brazilians. Having more alternatives, more competition is a really good thing. And so I think the biggest changes have been around culture, technology, and ultimately them realizing or reinventing themselves as technology companies that have to fight very, very hard for the consumer.
Nubank started in a small house in Brooklyn, not Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn, São Paulo. I'd like to know if you miss there, and also which are the major milestones in the bank's history, in your opinion?
Yeah, so we did not have a lot of money. We rented a small house in Brooklyn. We liked the area where we started because it was rural California. So we could say that we started our startup in California. It was an inside joke. And my co-founder, Edward, came from the US, and he was living on the second floor while the entire company was in the first floor. And we worked a lot. We did not stop. We worked from early to night. We said that the house was a great interview filter because some people would come in to interview themselves with this online bank, and they would see this house and they would say, what a waste of time. There's no way these guys are going to have any shot. And they would just leave. But then a few ones would go in and ring the bell, and they would see the house, and they would come in, and we would explain them what we were trying to do. And they would say, I love it. I'll be here on Monday. And so we loved the fact that it was a great interview filter because it attracted the right type of people, the people that were a bit crazy, that perhaps did not know how to measure risk, and that team of people built the first DNA of the company, which we think is very, very important to build it in the early days so it can scale with the rest of the company. And since then, we launched the first product, and what we found was a lot of product market fit, and consumers coming and growing. And then really has been a lot of milestones. I think the day we got our banking license, that was a really happy day. We had to fight for almost 5 years to get a license. Brazil, it's in the constitution of Brazil that foreigners cannot invest in banks. So we had to get a presidential exception to ultimately get an exception so we could get a banking license. So that was a big milestone. We had to be raising a lot of rounds of capital in 2015, in 2017, when Brazil was going through a big GDP compression, when there was impeachment, when there was really bad PR. And explaining that to international investors was always really scary, to tell them that we were in Brazil trying to build a bank when all of these news were around. When we launched Mexico as our first country outside Brazil, that was a really happy milestone. Then Colombia, learning how to internationalize. And then I would say the IPO 2 years ago in New York was a really exciting milestone. We had a lot of the early employees, a lot of our early customers, and that was a really, really fun milestone. But again, we think that's just one point in time in hopefully a very long story of company that we're building. So we like to look more to the future rather than to the past.
Are you proud of everything you did?
We are very proud, yeah. It's been the hardest thing I ever done in my life. I think if I had known how hard it was going to be, probably I wouldn't have done it. But yeah, it's a lot of pride. I mean, it's sweat, it's tears, it's sleeping in the office, it's the occasional crisis, but it's been very rewarding.
As we are in an event that talks about the future, innovation, so let's talk about future. How do you see Nubank from 10 years from now, 10 years in advance? And also, how do you see all the digital banking system here in Brazil in 10 years?
Yeah, so banking or finance is fundamentally a digital good. We don't even need to send shoes or send bits or bytes to people's houses. It's fully digital. So the future of banking is certainly completely digital. There is really no point in having banking branches in every corner. We're in the first stage of that development. That's kind of the first realization. The second one is that, especially with consumer platforms and now with the beginning of a new era on artificial intelligence, fewer and fewer brands will be the gateway to the internet. You'll effectively divide companies in two stages. The gateways into the internet and companies that own proprietary data sets. There'll be very few brands that will be the entry path to the internet that, for example, in the future, you will not go to a website of an online travel agency. You will probably go through few gateways to get to get your ticket, to get your banking, to buy a pair of shoes. And so our bet, what we're trying to work for, is we want to be one of those gateways that use the large customer base that we have, that use the brand and the data that we built to help our customers solve their financial services issues, but increasingly solve other problems that they might have. So we think it's It's going to be a more concentrated area where you'll see a few brands that have that consumer interaction, that have a lot of the data that would enable consumers to get access to a lot of products. And then there'll be other providers of financial services that will be more on the back end, providing savings, providing investments, or providing other type of products like mortgages or more sophisticated products.
We're going to see another big revolution, you think, with artificial intelligence?
Yeah, we think it will be the most transformational revolution we'll all see in our lives. It will be the fastest as well, because if you think about it, with the beginning of the internet, you needed people to put internet connection in everybody's houses. That took 5 years, that took 10 years. Then the next platform shift was mobile. You needed maybe 5 years to get everybody's smartphone in their phones. Now everybody has a smartphone, so everybody has a gateway to enter the next platform shift, which is AI. And we are in the beginning, in the early stages of seeing the new platform coming in, which will be AI platform. So absolutely, our view is that this is going to be very transformational change, and will happen way faster, I think, than anybody really anticipates.
You and your wife launched a philanthropic platform in October last year. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about this. How important is it?
Yeah, so we feel extremely lucky. We worked very hard, but we also were very lucky in that through a lot of work for 10 years, we were able to build a company that solved a huge problem for a very large percentage of the population, or still in the process of solving that. When you solve a big problem, society in a capitalist system rewards you with a lot of wealth. And as we started discussing what would be the best ways to use that wealth, we decided that the best way to use that wealth was to give it back to society and to try help society solve some of the biggest problems that it has. Technology has solved a lot of problems and will solve a lot of problems, but it's also creating a lot of problems, a big problem of inequality. And so the people that benefit from the creation of that wealth has a bit of a moral responsibility to give back to society whenever that inequality increases to the levels that we're seeing right now. So we took a step back. We did a big list of social problems that we feel excited about. We ended up being very passionate about the issue of access to opportunities. We believe in meritocracy, but we believe in meritocracy when everybody begins at the same start line. And in our society, not everybody begins at the same start line. Some people begin 10 kilometers behind. Some people begin 10 kilometers ahead. So what we're very focused on is how do we enable everybody to have the same opportunities. And the two themes that we think might enable that is what we call education. Education is the great equalizer. Education is what provides everybody the opportunity to start ahead, move ahead, and then, go ahead and build companies. Go ahead and create a great professional opportunity. And also what we call is leadership. We need strong leaders. We need leaders from all society actively thinking about problems and actively thinking about how to solve the big societal problems. So our entire philanthropy is focused on those two themes. We're still in the early days of trying to think about how to address them. And we also want to do it in a way, similarly as we did in Nubank, also of almost rethinking a lot of these issues to make it open source, to enable technology to scale a lot of the solutions of these problems, and hopefully make a little bit of dent in solving some of the big problems that society has today.
We have 2 minutes. Also, financial education.
Yeah, I think education as a whole, financial education, I see it more part of the Nubank role, and I think Nubank is increasingly starting to invest into financial education and really, frankly, simple products that address a lot of the lack of knowledge in the financial space.
Thank you so much, David. It was a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you so much, everybody. Boa noite para todos vocês. Obrigada mesmo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Obrigada.
Até mais.
God. Wow. The sound guy. Interesting. We got 2 more minutes to go. I'd like you all to put your hands together as we welcome up on stage many of the incredible startups that are featuring in this year's event. They hail from all around the world, from as far afield as Singapore, Mozambique, Kazakhstan, China, Romania. And of course, we have startups a little closer to home from Colombia, Argentina, and of course, Brazil.
So we just wanted to say just quickly where some people are from. Hey, where are you from?
Hi, I'm from Chile.
Chile. Hey, great. Where are you from?
From Georgia.
I'm sorry, I'm a bit late, but I'm here. Hi, where are you from?
Perth in Western Australia.
Wow, and you?
From Uruguay.
Wow.
Great. Where are you from?
Guadeloupe, a French island in the Caribbean.
Wow, great.
Where are you from?
From Ukraine.
So you had to be very fast to come here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
Ecuador.
Ecuador. Wow.
And where are you from?
Mexico City.
You?
Turkey.
Unbelievable. Do we have anybody else? Is that good, Casey?
That's
Happy?
great.
Fantastic. Okay, it's time. Could we please welcome to the stage, one final time, the Mayor of Rio. So here we go. Do a little countdown. 5. Are we going to count down? I think we're going to count down. Okay, here we go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks, everyone. See you all tomorrow. Enjoy Night Summit.
Sunil, where are you?
Thank you so much.
So full. Hello?
All right, yeah, walk off this way, yeah.